Hello, everyone. We're just starting the broadcast about 10 minutes early to wait to let some people join in. So we'll get started in about 10 minutes. I see we've got some more people logged into the webinar. We're just going to give it a couple of more minutes here till we get started. Okay, everybody, it's noon Central Time. So I think we're going to go ahead and just jump in and get started here. I know everybody's got busy schedules. So my name is Ashley Chartrand, and I'm a lead strategist at MediaCross, a recruitment marketing firm based in St. Louis. I've been a part of the MediaCross team since 2010 and been working with clients in the higher education industry since 2015. Today, I'm going to be speaking with you about recruiting Generation Z. So we'll start by reviewing characteristics of Gen Z and then discuss the ways in which you can update your brand to make sure your marketing resonates with this audience. I've always been fascinated by generational and birth order studies, so I'm excited to be speaking on this topic today. My colleague Shelby is going to be managing the chat feature, so if you have any questions or issues with the webinar, just message her there and she'll get back to you. All right. So while you probably feel like you just wrapped your head around recruiting millennials, a new cohort of students are already enrolled at your institutions. And the oldest of Gen Z have even graduated from your colleges and universities. So, are you ready? Have you adapted your recruitment marketing brand in a way so it resonates with this new distinct generation? We're going to kick things off with a true-false quiz to test your knowledge of how well you actually know Generation Z. So true or false, and you can just keep tabs on this because I can't actually hear you or see your responses, but true or false, Gen Z values a traditional college experience. False. With the rising cost of tuition, Generation Z students believe that a limited college experience is the best solution, meaning they're less interested in state-of-the-art gym facilities, high-end residence halls, and fancy on-campus dining options. In fact, 2/3 are concerned about having access to affordable housing while at college. And more than 80% of students surveyed in Generation Z Goes to College, a book I'll be referencing throughout the presentation, reported being concerned about higher education costs, and 17% indicate that it is their number one social concern. Okay, true or false? Generation Z feels like a college degree is worth the expense. True. In a survey conducted in Generation Z Goes to College, 2/3 of Generation Z students believe that the benefits of a college degree outweigh the costs, and more than 3/4 believe that having a degree is essential to having a career. But again, they are concerned about the cost of college. A Northeastern University study conducted in 2014 reported that 67% of Gen Z students indicate their top concern as being able to afford college. True or false? Generation Z is independent and they rarely rely on family or friends when deciding on a college. That is false. A study by Generation Z Goes to College revealed that 88 of those in Gen Z felt they were extremely close to their parents, and more than half take the opinions and perspectives of their family into consideration in their decision making. And according to that study conducted by Northeastern University, 69% said their parents are their top role models, and also found that Gen Z relies on the opinions of their peers more than admission or school counselors when it comes to selecting a college. Okay, true or false? Generation Z no longer uses Facebook. That is false. 80% of Gen Z students use Facebook and Instagram as the main platforms to keep up with others, as reported by Generation Z Goes to College. And watching YouTube is the preferred form of social media for learning new information for Gen Z students. This finding was reaffirmed by the Center for Generational Kinetics, which found 85% of surveyed students reporting that they had watched an online video to learn a new skill in the past week. So, what does this tell us about Generation Z? Well, they still believe in higher education, but they're adding up the dollar signs associated with the amenities colleges and universities are providing. They're more interested in a personalized educational experience that perhaps includes a more modern approach, and they're looking for value. So other attributes of this generation include they are the most racially diverse generation in the United States. They make up 26% of the US population. They are digitally hardwired and have not known a world without smartphones or Google. They're less risky and rebellious. An article on Forbes reports lower underage drinking and higher seatbelt wearing with Generation Z. They're open-minded and responsible. Nearly 3 out of 4 Gen Zers surveyed by Northeastern University said that colleges should allow students to design their own coursework of study or major. 85% said they want to be taught practical skills in college, such as financial planning and saving for the future. And 79% believe their college education should include some form of professional experience, such as internships. They are entrepreneurial and inventive. Nearly half expect to become their own bosses during their careers, and nearly 40% plan to invent something that will change the world, according to Gen Z Goes to College. Furthermore, the oldest of Generation Z were in kindergarten during the September 11th attack, and they're truly the digital natives. The cautious worldview of this group has also been shaped by Generation X parents who came of age in the post-Watergate and Vietnam years during a time of economic and global uncertainty. So these are really just the basics, and there are numerous studies and books available defining Gen Z, their preferences and attributes. But these are some key characteristics we feel like are important to take into consideration when looking at your recruitment brand and making sure that you can develop messaging that resonates. So now that we've covered the fundamentals of Gen Z, how should you be using these insights to connect to this prospective student group? Where do you start? Methodically approaching the challenge by defining your process rather than jumping in and updating your creative is the best approach and will set you up for success. So whether you're going to tackle this challenge internally or bring in a partner to support, I'm now going to review the process that we found to be most fruitful for campaign development. And with over 30 years of marketing experience under our belts, we've refined and continue to refine this process, but time and time again, we found this is the best approach. So, beginning with discovery and research, you'll set your goals and outline objectives while taking a step back to re-examine your brand and the market. Discovery and research are followed by concept development and testing, creative execution, and then campaign rollout and continued research. Instead of looking at your recruitment marketing approach as a straight line, you should think of it like a circle where you're continuously evaluating and modifying your approach as you gain more information and insights from recruitment cycle after recruitment cycle. So, okay, starting with discovery. You'll need to collectively define your enrollment goals because at the end of the day, that's what this is all about, right? Include all your stakeholders at this point in the process and outline your goals by priority. Many of you have multiple goals, and it's possible to work towards more than one goal, but it's good to have a focus. Taking more time up front to outline your objectives will help set you and your partner up for success. At the onset of your project, gather all past campaign research and materials. Review these items as a team, or if you're engaging a partner, share these materials with them before a campus visit to give them a chance to familiarize themselves with your brand and challenges. When a partner comes to visit your campus, their goal should be to immerse themselves in your brand. Every single college, large or small, public or private, has a unique story to tell and attributes that make you you. If you're not going to use an outside firm, then task stakeholders to detail their own experiences and opinions of what makes your institution one of a kind and memorable. Set up a meeting with your team to review these collective experiences and consider asking some of these following important questions. What are the 5 personality traits of your institution's brand? What does a typical student look like? Who is your competition? What are they highlighting? What do you like or dislike about their approach? Who are your aspirational institutions? Why? What messaging and approach are they using? Can you describe student life on campus? What are some of your top selling features? What are unique to you aspects of your college which should be shared? You can also conduct a brand exercise where you print out different types of stock photography of all kinds of images and then ask people to select images that remind them of your university, explaining that why they chose the images that they chose. It's just a great exercise to help get people to articulate their opinions of your brand and experience. So the objective of this meeting should be to tease out the unique selling propositions and allow you to tell your story in a fresh new way. Once discovery and research are completed, it's time to move into concepting. To stay on track, outline the key characteristics of Gen Z and identify what attributes of your college need to be communicated to make sure the campaign resonates. So if discovery and research are all about reaffirming what you know about your college or university, then concept development and testing are all about how to take that information and develop an easy to communicate recruitment brand and message that resonates. When creating a concept, it's important to remember to keep your key brand attributes top of mind. Consider how you can adapt a concept to reach transfers and adults. And keep tabs on how the university brand and past enrollment creative needs to inform the visual direction of a new campaign. It can be daunting to distill all of that information and come up with a brand new concept, which is why at Media Cross we use the do, believe, think, feel, see exercise. It's an excellent way to structure brainstorming, which can be difficult to wrangle. So be sure to take notes here about how we go through the process. So again, it's a mouthful. I'm just going to repeat it. The exercise is called do, believe, think, feel, and see, or DBTFS for short, which is also a lot to say. So here's how it works. We start by defining what we want the target audience to do when encountering the creative. In order for them to do that, we then consider what is it that they need to believe. In order for them to believe that, what do they need to think? And in order for them to think that, what do they need to feel? And lastly, for them to feel that way, what is it that they need to see? This exercise serves as a framework for brainstorming and creative development, ensuring that every creative recommendation aligns with the goals of the project. We work backward from the desired action and talk through the emotional, psychological, and rational thought processes that occur from seeing, receiving, hearing, or engaging with the creative will produce. We take current and past brand perceptions into account, along with noise from other brands, and the specific audience's level of propensity to take the action. The output of a DBTFS exercise can vary, but if you're looking to launch a new campaign, it often leads to a mood board and sample pieces. These are just a few mood boards that we've created for previous concepts for our partners. A mood board should help convey the tone and stylistic direction of a concept. It includes sample imagery, text, and illustrations to demonstrate the inspiration which leads to a concept. It's a great way of collecting the thoughts and visual cues discussed from DBTFS and connects the output of that exercise to the creative pieces developed. So here's a few sample pieces that were created from the mood boards that we shared on the previous slide, just to show you how things are connected. Once these sample pieces are created, we strongly recommend conducting concept testing. From on-campus focus groups to online testing, asking freshmen or high school seniors for their input usually provides insightful feedback on how the creative is received, and it allows you the opportunity to adapt your concept before creative execution. So these are the final deliverables of a campaign which grew out of this very exercise. When developing, we carefully considered Generation Z for the suite of materials and publications. We use colloquial language, bright pops of color, and hand-drawn elements as a nod to styles which are seen on social media such as Instagram and Snapchat. Additionally, notes were included throughout the creative to make the assets more personal to the recipient, which is something Generation Z has come to expect. You know, when you grow up being able to customize everything from your sneakers to your hat, you expect one-on-one communication. Of course, many of you recruit, transfer, and graduate students too, and you need to think about ways you can adapt a concept for these audiences. So while these audiences are older, they still enjoy clever messaging, and that helps create an unexpected experience. So for this concept, we adapted the language to be more assertive but casual and toned down the hand-drawn icons so the concept felt a little bit more grown up for adult audiences. No matter where you're starting in the process, you can use the DBTFS exercise for defining creative direction. For example, here's a few additional pieces we created for our partners which grew out of established brand campaigns, but were created using the DBTFS exercise. Keep in mind when determining creative work that you can and should be creative with your deliverables. I mean, we work in marketing after all, it should be fun. So whether you're taking a traditional piece, such as a view book, and making it digital, using clever copy, or a different layout and folds with Instagram-like photography, you should aim to find a way to make the piece stand out and continue to ask, will this piece resonate with Generation Z? Think back to those attributes that you made in the beginning of the project and use those as a checklist. And try to think beyond what's been done before. Draw inspiration from other industries. For instance, an exciting new project we're developing at MediaCross will help enhance campus visits and push students to apply. We're still working on a name for this product, but during a tour, ambassadors will snap images of students and parents at key points. Then, the ambassadors will upload these images to a custom software, which will generate a Facebook friendiversary style of video, which will be emailed to the student within 24 hours after the tour. The email will encourage prospective students to share their visit and is intended to create buzz or a sense of FOMO about visiting your college or university. And don't forget about your influencers, such as parents and guidance counselors. Maybe you already have a ComFlow and a postcard series for parents, and that is great. In that case, think about identifying ways to further build affinity and trust with them. After all, as we discussed earlier, parents are a major influence for this audience. If you're not sure what to do, consider maybe creating a planner with important due dates and deadlines, or send them a care package, encouraging them that they will make it through the college search process. If you haven't been reaching parents or guardians, it's time to get a plan into action. Consider starting with a postcard series highlighting need-to-know information such as financial aid, safety, and outcomes. Guidance counselors are inundated with information about colleges and universities. And while they may not be at the top of the influencer list, they're still an important secondary audience. Think about what types of tools they could use to help make their jobs easier. One idea is to print a pad of paper with a checklist of items guidance counselors review with high school students when searching for the right college or university that they can then tear off and give to the student. And be sure to include your college's branding subtly. This type of marketing is all about helping your audience, not hyping up your brand. And there's an excellent book which covers this subject matter. It's called Utility. Youtility. I'll have references at the end of the presentation for all of you. But I strongly recommend you pick up this book and Generation Z Goes to College before you head out for your summer vacations. So when it comes to rolling out your campaign, start by getting internal buy-in from prospective student-facing departments. Putting together a strategy that doesn't just rely on traditional tactics, but infuses more online, social, and experiential marketing solutions. Ongoing research is an important aspect to making sure your campaign materials are resonating. So if you didn't have time to conduct concept testing during the concept development phase, use the first year of implementation to gather feedback. It doesn't have to be a big formal project. You can ask recruiters which materials were most often picked up from tables at college fairs and get their input on student reactions. Or you can pull in freshmen early in the year to hear their recruitment experiences with your brand. Of course, these methods are helpful, but if you do have the time and resources to conduct an admitted student study to gather quantitative data on what both students who enrolled and did not enroll thought of their experience, that is ideal. So in our next webinar on August 8th, we're going to cover digital marketing for the funnel, where we'll talk about strategic development and implementation approaches from the start of the recruitment cycle through the end. So you're not going to want to miss this one, and in fact, it's going to pick up right where we left off. So, now is really the time to commit to refreshing your brand. And while the processes I outlined in the webinar today are our recommended approach, we know we don't always live in an ideal world without budgets. And we're expertly positioned to help you with your enrollment branding project from consultation to creative overhaul. So if you have any questions, we would love to help. But we hope that the tools presented in the process outlined today will be a helpful guide to at least consider how to start this project. So if there is any questions, we can go ahead and take those now through the chat feature, or if you want to reach out to our Director of Higher Education Marketing, Jessica Sasheray, that would be great. I'll be on vacation next week, and we like to be responsive at MediaCross, so she'll be able to get in touch with you. And again, this the webinar will be emailed out to everybody. So if you were if you were scrambling to take notes, don't worry. The webinar will be emailed, and there is a slide in here that includes the references to the articles and the books that I mentioned. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today, and we'll just stay on the line for a little bit longer to see if there's any questions. I see we still have a few people logged on, so we're going to stay on the line for just a couple of more minutes here to see if you have any questions. All right, well, we're going to go ahead and end the webinar. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. And again, please don't hesitate to reach out with any questions. We would love to talk to you, and we hope you have a great day. Thanks.